Hi, I'm Chuck House. I'm CEO of Innovascapes Institute. We have built a COVID dashboard with the idea that you can study a lot of situations and try and understand this pandemic as it's happened across America. In this one, I will look at the onset of it, things we may have forgotten or maybe didn't exactly understand at the time. When you first go to the dashboard, it comes up with 4 maps and a set of tables and graphs. The map on the upper left here is confirmed cases by county for the state of California, 58 counties. Orange is bad, more than 5,000 cases per county are in orange. White is good, less than 50 cases, not very many of those counties. Below that, I do cases per capita, which is sometimes much more interesting because it's how many cases you might know in your area. Deaths and deaths per capita are shown on the right. Up in the upper right-hand corner, I have a date slicer. You can pick any start point, any end point, and you can pick any state or multiple states, any county or multiple counties. We track all 50 states, 225 nations, and all 3,142 counties in America on a daily basis, and we compute a 7-day moving average for every one of these parameters for every one of those counties. A lot of data. Let's look at some of the data that comes out. Well, 6 weeks after the first case in America, we had 23 total cases across America, 3/4 of them in California, and half of those were in Santa Clara County. Santa Clara County is the heart of Silicon Valley. Stanford University, Apple, Google, you get the idea. And then we had a week that things went nuts. It went from 23 cases to 208 cases in 1 week after 6 weeks. 23 states participated in that and 11 counties in California. But Santa Clara was still half of California's total, well ahead of Los Angeles at that point. Washington over here was the leader. All of a sudden, they had a major explosion in assisted living and nursing care homes that was tragic, and it killed a number of people very quickly. By the end of that week, 208 cases that week, Trump was emboldened to answer the question about where are the test kits. And while at CDC in Atlanta, he announced that we have 1 million test kits ready to go that'll mail out Monday. I was at the hospital that day in our county, Tulare County in California, and they told me we didn't have any test kits in the county yet, even though Trump had said we had hundreds of thousands already. The next week, I happened to be back at the hospital. I was having a fair amount of COVID issues myself. And Governor Newsom said, we got test kits, but they don't have any chemicals. It's like shipping printers without any ink. But notice we went from 200 cases that week to 2,000 in the succeeding week. And 48 states of the 50 had at least 1 case. A week after that, oh my God, now all 50 states have more than 40 cases. We go from 1,900 cases to 16,000 cases. I mean, this is a stunningly dramatic increase. Nonetheless, and when I got back to the hospital that week, I went quite a few times, they said, well, we do have test kits, but we only have 2, and they're reserved for important folk. Boy, that was comforting. Nonetheless, 4 days later, Trump said it'd be beautiful to reopen the country by Easter. New York had closed down the day before. California had closed down the week before, and he's already eager to reopen. But look at these graphs. Here's the 7-day moving average is that red line, and here's the death rate, and that orange line is the 7-day death rate moving average. Stunning explosion, essentially a logarithmic expansion. Let's look at it on a county basis across America. You see the dark spots; those are the hot spots, and the cases were first of all international cities. And what happened there is a lot of cities, Chicago, New York, the Bay Area, New Orleans, all realize you've got to stop these people from moving around, but in particular, you have to stop the foreign visitors coming in through those airports. In terms of international entertainment centers, Disneyland, Las Vegas, Mardi Gras, they've hopped on the problem actually earlier than anybody else, except for the international ski resorts. And that's, we had 37 North American ski resorts closed on 4:03 p.m. Saturday, March 14, and angering. You know, this is the height of ski season on a Saturday and the biggest weekend of the year, but it saved clearly some lives. Well, who'd have thought it could get worse? I mean, that week it went from 16,000 to 80,000, and the following week it more than doubled again. 170,000. Now we have 9 states with more than 5,000 cases. Remember, we saw that map that had many counties in California with more than 5,000 cases. But back then, that seemed like a lot. Here's the graph for cases, and here's the graph for deaths. Does this seem like it's going in the right direction to open up? Well, it turned out we didn't open up. We went from 170,000 that week to 220,000 the following week, 2 days before Easter. It's just, you know, so we'd had, since Trump wanted to open things up, almost 500,000 new cases. 500,000 new cases. The succeeding week was down a little bit, from 220 to 2001. To 201,000, let me say that differently. And Trump felt obliged to go out and tweet that he wanted to liberate Michigan, Virginia, and Minnesota from their oppressive Democratic governors. His vendetta throughout all of this has just been astonishing. Here's the curves. Yes, indeed, we flattened it. We haven't yet flattened the death rate, but he's still eager to free America from the problem of this issue that we can't even wear masks on. The succeeding week, look at the precision of these numbers. 3 cases different. The succeeding, and then 3 days after that second week, he announces that he'd like to reopen and he'd like to plan to open the schools, an issue we still have with us at the moment. The succeeding week was another 200,000, and Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Texas Republican governors, among others, said we're going to reopen and we'll reopen safely, so not to worry. How'd that turn out? Well, here's what those states looked like on May 1st in terms of per capita cases for their own counties. Here's what Florida moved to. Here's what South Carolina moved to. Here's what Texas moved to. Here's what Georgia moved to. Would you say it was a safe reopening? So these are the kind of things you can do with this dashboard. You can look at your counties where your relatives live. You can do comparison games. Here's an instructional video that could help you learn how to use it. Here's several stories. I look at some rural Iowa, some rural Texas, kinds of things. Thank you for watching.